Hey everybody, welcome back to another video in the DigiHow-Digistruct peak tips for Axton. And after just cleaning out the assassin area, I'm ready for the Area of Anguish. But everybody always knows this is the area where you fight the dual Saturns on OP8. So I'll be going through this area in this video. The beginning waves are just kind of an amalgamation of quite a few different enemy types. There could be centurion slag, spider ants. There's usually are surveyors, skags, including rabbits. And there's usually also at least one either spider or bar tank. And I get the spawn where I get one bar tank, which isn't really a big deal. None of the enemies in here are really too hard, and I like to stay at a distance when I engage them most of the time. If they're, say, like an animal, a skag, or even a centurion spider ant, if it's something like a close range enemy that won't do a lot of damage, then I'm a little more optimistic to face them in close combat. But for the most part, if they're dangerous or have guns, I like to try to keep my distance. That way I can keep my health also. So, of course, you know the bosses in this area are going to be the two Saturns. They have really high health. They're also kind of annoying in that they don't have any crit spots, they can't be slagged, and they also don't really they're resistant to grenade damage, so splash damage or whatever. So I can't really use some of the weapons to great extent here, but still other weapons such as the Pimpernel, the Badaboom, even the conference call works really well. And speaking of which, I was kind of digging through my weapons the other day in one of my mules, and I fished that out, and I had one of my friends that I used to play with said it did a fantastic job at taking down Saturn, the conference call, that is. So I decided just to grab mine and go see what happened, and sure enough, it really did a number on Saturn. I have the one I have is actually a practicable corrosive one with a Jacob's grip. So it has a lot of damage. I just wish the magazine size was a tiny bit bigger, but it's got a lot of power in it. So, and it did. I mean, the fastest I was able to take him down. Well, I just went out to the boneyard or the nexus or whatever it was. I went out and fought him there, and I killed him in like just under a minute. So the conference call does a lot of work on that guy. So if you don't have, like, say, the Badaboom, or you don't have the Pimpernel, if you bring that along, that's gonna go a long way in killing him quickly. And that's kind of another thing what I don't understand. There are people who will sometimes say, "Well, I had to throw the B on for Saturn because he was too tough. He has a lot of health." But I mean, let's just be honest here. If I'm playing Axton without a B, all I had was like a corrosive bone. I had, like I said, the conference call. And my turret, I don't really, the bonus from Battlefront is good and all, but it's not really critical. And of course, when you're fighting Saturn, you might lose the turret a couple times anyway. But if despite all that, you're able to kill him in 1 minute with one of the supposed classes that doesn't do a lot of damage on OP8, which everybody likes to say he does, but if I can do that, then I mean there really should be no excuse to put the B on, in all honesty. And then you can even do what I did in this video, which would be kind of luring the Saturns to the door of the Colosseum and just doing Badaboom assaults on them. But you'll see that in a minute. But it's still kind of makes me wonder how what am I trying to say? How long is too long? I guess. Like I said, some people say, well, I mean, he's just so healthy, and I have to put this thing on to kill him. And I mean, I don't really think a minute long is too long. I don't even think, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes for each Saturn is long in my opinion. But I don't know. I guess that's just me. It is just me. So I don't know if I'll understand that. But anyway, speaking of which, you can see the yellow bros have spawned. And like I was mentioning just a minute ago, I like to kind of lure them over to this like raised area. And once they jump up, I hightail it for the entrance to the the Colosseum laceration where the assassins were. And from there, it gives me a lot of cover. Granted, you could probably say, well, I mean, you have cover right out here. But yeah, I do, like by this rock, but it's not really that certain. Plus, I know that the Saturns aren't going to be able to come into the Colosseum. So that's another reason why I go over there. It's worked really well. The strategy, I should say, has worked really well for me. But there is a downside to doing that. Unfortunately, it's when you lure the Saturns and they come all the way up to the door of the Colosseum, they just start spamming endlessly. It'll either be their mini drones like you're seeing now, or it'll be the death lasers. That's the unfortunate downside of going this way. But despite that, I find it's really good. It's probably one of the safest ways to take these guys on. And remember what I said a couple videos back. I mean, if you're doing DigiPeak, well, say you're on OP7 going for OP8, I really don't think rushing through is your best option. You would want to play to your strengths, and even if that means just kind of going back to a previous area and kind of waiting it out, or just doing something that is considered safe tactics, then by all means do that. All it really takes is just one mistake to ruin your run. So that's why I hole up in here, and what I'm going to be doing now is I'm always kind of hesitant to throw the turret out, because the turret does give me a little bit more damage. I can throw it out like right there, but I wanted to make sure that they're not going to do their stupid spam attack, which is really annoying. Yeah, just like that. He waits till I throw it out, and then he does that. That annoys me. Anyway, you can see that I normally would use my Badaboom to get kill skills, and despite really kind of a bad session, I guess, and that was kind of stupid there, just right in the main site. But despite all that, I got him down to almost half, which is really good. And considering there are two of them there, it's kind of a little more of a headache, but I'll throw that out over there this time and watch them get the aggro to it, and then I'll just keep slamming on them with the Badaboom. And something I hadn't noticed before when I was doing this, that like I thought that it was just hurting the first Saturn, but when I killed this first one, I looked, and I think the other Saturn had half his health gone too. So I know I've mentioned it way too much before, but I love the Badaboom, and I love how the fact that, like, even though some of the rockets hit the first Saturn, the second Saturn still got hit by a good amount. So now all I have to do is just kind of to venture out there and buy some ammo. And normally he'll start walking away. Normally he won't really hole up by the entrance per se. He'll be kind of like to the right of it. You see there, that's all he does. When he gets in that place there, he'll just continually spam and spam away. And I think what ends up happening is I go ahead and just stop him for a second when I throw my turret out. But also, sometimes if you kind of like walk out in front of him, he either gets scared or he wants to just walk away a little bit. So I use that to my advantage to run out and grab some ammo. And now with a fully loaded Badaboom again, and he's halfway, well, he's more than half. He's going down really quickly now. So, oh, here comes his death lasers. Always got to be so careful. Those things hurt a lot. But like I said, if you don't really want to do the Badaboom strategy, sometimes it can be kind of risky to do that. Another thing you can do is just use conference call. All the times that I've fought Saturn with a corrosive bone and that, I've always been able to take them out with rounds still, with ammo still left. So that's another really good option for it. And if you don't have either of those, but you have a Pimpernel, that's always going to work great. You might have to grab some more ammo, but that really shouldn't be too much of a problem. This compared to the assassin area, which was just previous to it, this area isn't really that hard if you just kind of take it slow and make sure you don't make any big mistakes like running out when you're not supposed to run out. So that was just this area. Not a whole lot to write home about, but the next couple areas can be kind of kind of iffy too, but we'll talk about that in the next video. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope you'll stick around to see the last couple videos, but until then, I'll catch you later. Bye.